Okay, good morning everyone, welcome back. Thanks for joining me in this practice. Today I'm gonna practice a missed approach. I'm flying my trusty Cessna 337 Sky Master. I'll let you know a little bit more of the cockpit. Here we are. And for those of you that like to see the airplane outside, here it is. It's the Cessna 337 Sky Master. As you can tell, the conditions are IMC right now. So that's my IFR view anyway. So even the conditions were not IMC, I can simulate IMC with this panel set up in this manner here. So everything looks good. As you can tell, we are level at 6,000 feet. We are establishing in a cruise configuration here, maintaining 6,000 feet. And I have set up the ILS Yankee approach to runway 16 right at the Van Nuys Airport. So briefing will be, the frequency is 111.3, which is already set in radio nav 1, and we have to identify that. Let's see if we can hear it. No yet. Okay, a little bit later I will identify the ILS. Approach course is 164. And that's important to set up as well. That's one of the gotchas of the GPS world. Because at some point when you are planning an ILS or a localizer approach, you have to transfer from GPS to localizer. So if your localizer is not set up properly, you may be confused a little bit. So here's what I do. I'm gonna set here to heading mode, and I'm gonna select CDI key, so we go to VLOC, and then this one can be anywhere. So in this VLOC is where we set the final approach course, when in this case is 164. So here we are, 164. That's it. So once we have that kind of preset, we can go back to GPS, and then we can go back to navigation mode here. So our approach course is preset, the frequencies are preset. This runway has 6,500 feet long, so it's plenty of runway for this airplane. And the airport elevation is about 800 feet. On the notes, nothing that will apply to us at the moment. We have medium intensity approach light system. For the miss approach, climb to 1,700 feet, then climbing right turn to 4,600 feet on heading 210, and on Santa Monica VOR DME radial 267, and Ventura VOR DME radial 87 to Ventura VOR DME and hold. So that's the missed approach procedures. We've listened to the 80s. Conditions are right at the minimums. Probably we will have to do the missed approach due to insufficient visibility. We cannot see the runway, so we have to do the missed approach. But I'm setting up this to practice a go-around procedure anyway. So even if we can see the runway, I'm gonna execute as a practice the missed approach from minima. So let's keep reading the chart here, doing the briefing. And let's review our flight plans. So from Umber, at 6,000 feet, we have 164 for DME to GNAT at 4,900, and we have 163 4 miles to Fury. Fury is the final approach fix at 3,800, and from Fury the runway 16 right, 8 DME and 164, which is the final approach course. After that we have the missed approach to Ventura to hold. So the flight plan has been validated, everything is looking fine. I'm gonna start reducing my power now because we are approaching Sidom, which is the initial approach fix. and I would like to be around 140 knots at that point to start my procedure. So let's finishing the briefing here. We need 1.5 mile visibility, and we will listen to the 80s in a while. Actually, let's listen to the 80s now. 2755. So I'm gonna set here 2755, and let's listen.
Van Nuys information Romeo. 1300 Zulu weather. Wind light and variable. Visibility poor. Sky conditions 300 overcast. Temperature 16. Dew point 14. Altimeter 2995. Arriving runway 16 right. Departing runway 16 right. Advise on initial contact. You have Romeo.
Okay, so we have Romeo, we've listened to that. We have good visibility, but the ceiling is 300. And the ceiling is not, we don't need a ceiling for this approach, we need a visibility. Visibility is 1.5 and we have 8 miles. So technically we can try this approach. We already know that the visibility is poor, and the minima for this localized, this ILS 16 right is 1,461 feet. So with that minima, we will be around 668 feet above the airport. And if we have a ceiling of 300, probably we're not gonna see the runway. So we will execute the missed approach procedure, which is what I want to practice today. Anyway. So for that, my one important thing to consider in this ILS is the distance. The distance is based on Van Nuys VOR. So I'm gonna set, I have set 113.1 and my DME to radio navigation 2, which is Van Nuys, and I'm gonna identify right now. Okay, Van Nuys is identified, and I will set this one . Okay, looks like the localizer is identified as well. Yes, localizer is identified as well. So we are ready for this approach. I'm gonna set flaps to 1, and we have 6,000 feet until Umber. After Umber, we can start our descent to 4,900 at GNAT. So I'm gonna let the system in GPS intercept the final approach course here, and then I will switch over to the ILS frequency, which is identified. My DME distance source, which is the VOR, is identified as well. And I have 110.8 for the missed approach, which is Santa Monica. And I have the 267 radial set down here as well for that. So that is the thing. We are over to GNAT. Okay. Looks like everything is okay. I'm gonna set here to heading and change this one to VLOC, and then to nav again. So now we are tracking the localizer and not the GPS anymore. And when we have, I can actually go ahead and set approach mode now. So we'll wait for the glide slope to come and descend on the glide slope. I have flaps 1 set. I have 110 knots, which is okay. Glide slope is now alive. GNAT is 4,900 or above, so we are very well here. Once we are within 1 dot, I will set the gear down and flaps 2/3. And so everything is set, the briefing is complete, the radios are identified. We have the DME from the VOR and the ILS on the radio number 1. Okay, here we go. 1 dot. So gear down. And flaps 2/3. There we go. So gear down and green. Flaps are 2/3. Okay. And I'm gonna set about 90 knots for this approach. So that is blue line. Gonna set the mixtures for that. Taxi and landing lights are on. I'm gonna turn off the synchro phaser. Adjust the mixture. Okay, and adjust the power. 40 is the final approach fix, and we need to cross that at or above 3.8, 3,800, and we are good with that. We are already captured the glide slope, and we are descending. Our minima is 1461. Okay, here we go. So now that we have a little bit of time here, we're about to close the final approach fix. I will use this time to check my checklist before landing checklist. Fuel valves, they are in the green. Cowl flaps open, seat belts on, lights on, synchro phaser off, mixture set, props set. Let me set actually the props here. Okay, mixture and prop set. Gear down and green, and flaps 2/3. So the before landing checklist is complete. Everything is well. And here we go. So let's think about missed approach. So let's cycle between this one and this one. Okay, so for the missed approach procedure is again climbing straight ahead to 1,700 and then turn right to heading 210, climbing to 4,600 to intercept the radial 268 from Santa Monica VOR. So how am I gonna fly this? Right now we are using the autopilot. As soon as we approach minima, I'm gonna disconnect the autopilot, or a little bit before minima, I'm gonna disconnect the autopilot. If we don't see the runway at minima, we will execute the missed approach. So for that, I'm gonna set full power. I'm gonna initially level off, set flaps to 1/3, and then establish a pitch of about 5 degrees. Once we have positive climb, gear up. So that's initially. Now we are climbing away. We have to wait until 1,700 feet, which is only about 300 feet from the minima anyway, so it will come fairly quickly. Once we cross 1,700, we'll turn right to a heading of 210. Once we are established there, we have to change the CDI from the GPS to GPS. Right now is in VLOG, so we have to go to GPS, and then if it shows suspended there, we have to unsuspend it from the OBS selector. And after we've done that, more than 90 knots, so above blue line, we will set flaps up. We will set props to 2,600, and climb away to 4,600. Actually, I'm gonna climb to 5,000. So that's it. To recap. So power, pitch, flaps, pitch to 5 degrees, positive climb, gear up, way to 1,700. At 1,700, turn right heading 210. CDI to GPS. Wait until we have the suspended, unsuspended by pressing the OBS button. Continue heading 210, continue climbing. Once above 90 knots or blue line, flaps up, prop to 2,600, synchro phaser off, lights off. continue climb to 4,600, actually 5,000. We agreed that we're gonna level off at 5,000. And intercept the radial. For that we have to change from 13.1 on nav to 110.8, so we can cross check that. So now we are 1,000 feet above minima. We still can't see anything. And that is the procedure. Let's see how it goes. It's good to practice. I love the simulator to practice that kind of stuff, because you have to practice actually. Or at least you have to think in your mind exactly what you're going to do, so you don't get any surprises if you have to do go around. If we see the runway, again, as I said, we are still going to do the go around for practice, and then we will go to Oxnard, which is a better conditions right now, so we can land there on an ILS approach as well. All right, so let's concentrate on this. We are 2 mile final for runway 16 right. Autopilot is doing a great job on maintaining us on the center line and on the glide slope. That's when you should use the autopilot for this kind of situations. All right, let's get ready. Let's see, nothing there, absolutely nothing. I don't think we're gonna see anything. So 1461, guys, disconnecting autopilot, approaching, nothing. 1461. Okay, go around, power, pitch, flaps 1/3, positive climb, gear up, and wait for the 1700. Okay, gear is up, 1700 is coming now, turning right, heading 210. So I'm gonna set my heading back here to 210 and climbing to 5,000. Okay, approaching 210, heading 210. Here we go. Okay, so autopilot heading select. We're maintaining 210, we are climbing away, we have positive climb. Now we have to change to GPS and suspend the the VOR. Good. And we have our next trap. We are more than blue line, flaps up, 2600 on the RPM. There we go. We check all the engine instruments are good, and we can go ahead and set the synchro phaser on, lights off, and we are climbing away at 110, which is the VY speed. So let's do our list. One more thing, I need to change to 110.8, otherwise, okay, 110.8, there we go. And let me identify that we are going to Santa Monica. That is correct, Santa Monica is identified, and we need to intercept this radial here. Okay, so now time for a checklist. After takeoff checklist, gear, oops, up, flaps, up, propeller, 2600, and synchro phaser is on, cool flaps are open, lights are set. After takeoff, checklist complete. Alright, so that is it. So now we wait for the radial to intercept this radial. How far are we from that? We are 9 miles away from that, because this one is also tracking to Ventura. The Santa Monica to Ventura is the 267 VOR outbound. So now let's concentrate on level off at 5,000 first, and then we will do the the rest of our preparation. Okay, so that was a lot of fun. It's a lot of work, but you have to think ahead. If you have your plan in your mind, you can do it, because as you saw, there is a lot of things going on, lots of things that we need to do at the same time to be successful in this maneuver. It's not a difficult maneuver, but it requires a lot of steps that you have to plan to do it. So let's see. We are getting ready to capture here at 5,000. We are still 7 miles away. Okay, almost ready to capture 5,000 here. Okay. Almost there. 5,000. And here we go. Altitude select. There we go. So 5,000 feet. Now it will trim to maintain 5,000 while accelerating. So we can set the mixture for cruise, our cruise mixture, which is about 1,400 on the EGT. And about maybe 60 pounds per hour per engine. Something like that. 1420 on the EGT, let's see. 1420, there we go. And that is, yeah, let's go to 60. 60 pounds per hour. That sounds good. Okay, engine instruments are good. Everything looks okay. Right. 5,000. So now we have 4 miles to intercept our radial here. Outbound from Santa Monica VOR, and the next will be Ventura. But in the middle of that we will change to Oxnard. So what we can do is set the 80s for Oxnard, 118.05. 118.05, and listen to that.
Oxnard information Romeo. 1300 Zulu weather. Wind calm. Visibility 10. Sky conditions 800 overcast. Temperature 16. Dew point 13. Altimeter 2994. Arriving runway 25. Departing runway 25. Advise on initial contact. You have Romeo.
Okay, so we have a Romeo 2994, wind calm, overcast at 800. So now the ceiling is a little bit higher in Oxnard, so we have a better chance to shoot the ILS to 5, which requires 250 only. So let's see, guys, we have the CDI alive, and we are here CDI alive as well. So we are just about to capture or to intercept here this. So let me now, let's turn to 270 here to intercept this course. There we go. Okay. Perfect. 265. Beautiful. Right on the money. 270. There we go. And from then we are captured already. And that is cross-checked on the raw data from the VOR, and this is from the GPS. So we're established towards Ventura. Now we will change to the Oxnard approach. So let's load that procedure, select approach from Oxnard. So let's see here. Okay. O X R the okay. ILS to 5. Okay. Vectors. Let's enter from from Gaibe. From Gaibe, activate. Yes. Enough. And now we are set to the initial approach fix. And again, I'm going to reduce power. I'm going to maintain 5,000 feet until that point, Gaibe, and let's read the chart. So ILS frequency 108.7, gonna set that as active. Approach course is 255, so we'll do that trick again. So I'm gonna wait until this autopilot stabilizes in the track to Gaibe, which is the initial approach fix. We have a couple of minutes, so yeah, that should be plenty to set. All right, so I'm gonna change to heading mode. Gonna change to CDI here and set the approach course, which is 256. So 256, 240, 250, 255, 256. There we go. Okay, that is set. Now I'm gonna go back to GPS here and back to navigation here. So runway 5,500 feet, touchdown zone elevation 45 feet. Notes, nothing that apply to us. Medium intensity approach light system, lights with sequencing flasher lights. For the missed approach, climb to 5,520 feet, then climbing left turn to 2,000 on the Camarillo VOR 249. So now I'm gonna set here 249 and the Camarillo VOR, which is 115.8, 115.8 for the missed approach, and then to squid. Okay, now let's review our flight plan. Guibe to Kudak is 256, 2.6 miles. Kudak at or above 4,200. Kudak to Hupla is 256, 3.3 miles, correct. Hupla at or above 37. Hupla to Nelly is 256, 3 miles, Nelly at or above 32. And then to runway 25 is 9.7 miles, which is correct. And after that to squeeze to halt. So again, the flight plan has been checked, everything is set. Frequencies 108.7, the DME, we don't have DME out of that, are all the intersections, that's it. And so let's identify those. So I'm gonna identify the localizer first. Okay, that is all right. Localizer identified, and Camarillo. Identified as well. All right, so that's it. We have all the identifications done. We are approaching the final approach course here, so we should start turning in a second. There we go. So I'm gonna go ahead and set flaps to 1. Gonna turn the lights on. And start again, increasing the mixture slowly. And we are turning to 256. So I'm gonna set this to 256, 240, 250, 256. There we go. Okay, so once we are established there, I'm gonna set this to heading and change to the VLOG here and nav, so we capture and we fly the localizer. And same procedure, once we have one dot above in the glide, I will go ahead and drop the gear and set flaps 2/3 and an airspeed of 90 knots. Okay, localizer is alive. So Guibe to Kudak. Kudak is at or above 37. Sorry, 4,200 is Kudak. So we are good. I'm gonna descend on the glide slope. and we have everything set up for that. So I hope I'm explaining myself what my thinking process is for these approaches and how you have to be ahead of the airplane. That's what I love about the instrument flying. It's very demanding. Okay, 1 dot above, gear down. Select approach. Down, green light, and flaps 2/3. Okay, approach glide slope has been captured, starting our descent, and now gonna set the power to maintain 90 knots. Okay, good. So hoopla again at or above 37. We are passing 47, so we are very good. Okay, so again for the missed approach here, straight ahead climbing to 520 and then right turn on the radial 249 to squeeze. Missed approach altitude is 2,000 feet. So again, what I'm going to do is full power, initially kind of level off, flaps 1/3, then pitch for about 5 degrees. Once we have positive climb, gear up. We go back to CDI on the GPS. We go back to unsuspend on the GPS above 520. Heading will be 249, almost 250. So this is a slight turn to the left, climbing to 2,000 feet. Once we are above blue line or 90 knots, flaps up, 2600 on the prop, and synchro phaser on. Okay, we have LNAV indication on the GPS, but right now we are not following the GPS, we are following the ILS. So Nelly is the final approach point at 3200. And I'm increasing the mixture here slowly and reducing the power to maintain 90 knots. Okay, I'm gonna set full mixture now and switch off the synchro phaser and select prop to full forward. So we can go ahead and do the landing checklist. Checklists before landing. Fuel valves on, cowl flaps open, seat belts on, lights on, synchro phaser off, mixture full reach, props full forward, gear down, and flaps 2/3 for now. Before landing checklist complete. Okay, so just the last bit of flaps, and I will set that as soon as we have visual. Still no visual, and for this approach the minima is 294. Let's call it 300. 300, we need 1 mile visibility. We have more than 10 actually, with an overcast layer up about 800 feet. So here we are approaching Nelly at 3200, and we are good. 3300 with the altimeter is showing about 100 feet up. Good. So that is that. I love instrument flying, and I love the sim for that. The simulator for that is awesome to kind of practice that. This kind of stuff, you know, approaches, go rounds, all kind of interesting procedures. And especially when the weather is IMC, real IMC like today. I did not change the weather. This is real weather. And I'm using that as an opportunity to practice because it's real IMC. That's what I love. All right, so let's keep focused. The only thing left is the final flap setting. I said I will set that once we are visual. I have a few views pre-selected here. I'm using this one, which is IMC. It's the one that I like to use when flying IMC. Let's check real quick engine instruments, make sure that everything is looking good in this department. Yep, everything is looking good. Beautiful. If this will be a localizer, then we have the outer marker at 1680, we'll see. We are about 1000 above that. But this is not a localizer approach. This is a glide slope, a full ILS approach to runway 25, Oxnard. Okay, so 7 miles to the runway. Runway elevation is 45 feet. Okay. Always have a plan in your mind for the go-around procedure, so you will not get caught by surprise if you have a plan, especially in this kind of airplanes that you have to manually do the go-around. Okay, 2000 feet. At about 1700 we should start hearing the outer marker. A little bit before that. So we should hear that any second now. There we go. Start to hear the outer marker. Why it changed to, I didn't do that. Okay. So we are listening to the outer market. It doesn't have anything to do with ILS. That's only for the localizer. For the ILS, the final approach point, and even for the localizer, is the intersection Nelly. All right, 1500. We are approaching 4 miles here to the runway. And we expect the layer to be cloud layer to be about 800 feet. So we still can't see anything there. Okay, so go around in this case is much easier than the one in Van Nuys, I think. But it's kind of a low altitude for capture, so you have to be ahead of the game, otherwise you will fly right through the altitude if you're not paying attention, because missed approach altitude is only 2000 feet. All right, so let's concentrate on these. 1000 feet, still nothing. Minima is 300, 294, so we'll call that 300. $800 to 300. There we go. Right as advertised, the bases of the clouds are at 800 actually, 700. So we have the runway in sight. Gonna disconnect the autopilot and select the last flap 3/3. So with that we are all set for our landing. And 86 will be our final approach speed. I have to trim this or retrim every time you change something. You have to trim again. Okay. Good. Okay, and welcome to Oxnard. Gonna use the, let's see if I can use, yeah, I can use this one. This is a kind of a high-speed taxiway, high-speed exit, so we can use this one. Okay, so that was a very interesting practice for missed approach and instrument procedures in real IMC conditions. So I'm gonna taxi here for the ramp and we'll do the after landing procedures, which are flaps up, reset the trim, strobe lights off, landing lights off, mixture lane for taxi, time check 14:52, and checklists. After landing checklist, time is checked, lights are set, mixture lane for taxi, trim reset, flaps up, and after landing checklist is complete. So that's it, guys. Thank you very much for joining me in this practice. I hope you like it. Again, remember, this is not for instruction, not for real life. It's just me practicing in the sim my instruments procedures and sharing that with you. Hopefully you can like and subscribe and share. If you have any comments, the good, the bad, the ugly, whatever you want to say, more than welcome. And if you want to see anything, please let me know in the comments below. Thank you for joining me. Till the next one. Have a good one.